for another episode of Destined Discussions.
So I first want to say happy Black History Month. This is a month that's dedicated to all of us and really just looking back in our history and what that means for us and how we're pushing forward and moving forward as a whole.
So this month, our featured quote was, "Never argue with someone who tells you what you can't do. Show them you can do it."
And that comes from my very own sister queen, Dr. Jackie Edwards. I recently had the opportunity to interview her this week.
Take a look. Here is a brief bio of Dr. Jacqueline Edwards. She is a wife, mother, pageant queen, and physician assistant. She has created a platform of purpose through pageantry and her love for seeing people advance in the healthcare field. As our 2021 International Mrs. USA, she inspires others to pursue their dreams, regardless of what curveballs that may be thrown at them during life. She stands by her passion, which is expressing that representation matters, not only in the pageant space, but also in the healthcare field. She developed a mentorship program that aids aspiring PAs and healthcare professionals. As a result, she awarded 3 scholarships to help students offset application costs during 2020. And we know that was a year of unexpected issues. So if she did that during 2020, you know that she is a woman with a plan and goals in mind. And she also plans to award 4 additional scholarships this year. So without further ado, I introduce to some and present to others Mrs. Dr. Jacqueline Edwards, but I call her Jackie. So come on in, friend. Thank you so much for being here. So first, before we get right into the interview, I wanted to really just highlight you basically in my life because it was because of you. It was the inspiration behind you, a picture that I saw on Facebook that inspired me to actually learn about pageantry and then get off into pageantry. So kudos, because I feel like you really lit something within me to help me to further pursue my passion and my goals. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Look, you made me feel like I'm all blushing and stuff. I wasn't expecting
that. Yes. So, I just wanted to say that because I think that's important. I think as women, sometimes we need to express to other people how they encouraged us, how they inspired us in our life, and just to help boost them and know that, hey, girl, job well done, right?
Oh,
and so I appreciate you. And so I want to start off with your quote that you submitted. And you were recently featured on Queen's Quote on Tuesday. And I'm going to just highlight your quote right now, which says, "Never argue with someone who tells you what you can't do. Show them you can do it." And I absolutely love that quote. And I wanted to just touch on what was the inspiration behind that quote. And can you tell us a little bit about what it means?
Well, so first of all, thank you for having me. And look, I'm blushing here, but behind this quote, I think it just kind of goes back to, like, for me and my background, where I came from. I grew up in the inner city. I mean, I could think of family members telling me what I can't do, what I'm not going to do. And a lot of that has to do with people just being stuck where they are, and they project that onto you. And I can tell you 15 million times that, oh, well, yeah, you're saying I can't do it, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I just believe that the actual actions matter more. You can show people better than you can tell them. I think that's what my grandma said.
Absolutely. And your grandma was onto something. That's so true. That's so true. And that's why that quote really resonated with me, because it's on point and it's factual. And again, like you said, no need to speak upon these things. When it happens, it happens.
It happens.
And so with that being said, can you tell us a little bit about what made you go into pageantry and what that life has been like for you? Because you are our Queen 2021 International Mrs. Correct? Did I say that?
Yeah, internet. Let me look. I got my crown because this beautiful bun is being a little bit of a hater, but yes, I am the 2021 International Mrs. USA, part of the International Miss Pageant System. I am the first crowned International Mrs. USA. So I'm super honored. I'm excited. And I'm grateful for the opportunity. Now, for people who want to know, I did not grow up doing pageants because a lot of people are like, oh, tell me your pageant story. And when you talk to a lot of people who you traditionally see or talk a lot about pageantry, they've been doing it since they were little. I did not find that out until I competed the very first time in 2017. I did some local modeling here in Milwaukee, was participating in fashion shows, saw one of my modeling friends who represented, at the time she was representing Ms. Nebraska, United States. And I'm like, how did you get that title? First of all, we're in Wisconsin. Why are you wearing Nebraska? But she was just telling me about her experience. And I was like, oh, it's cool. Like it was nothing I ever thought of. It wasn't anything I aspired to. It just was never a seed planted in me to be like, I'm going to participate in pageants. I canceled myself out of being able to participate in pageants because I was under the impression that you needed to kind of be perfect, not have any kids, never been married and divorced, because when I entered this pageant, I was 33. So 33 going on 34. So it was 2017 actually. And I was literally sitting in my bed and I saw like, you can apply now to be a local title holder for Miss Wisconsin, United States. And I filled it out watching TV because I'm going to be completely honest. I didn't think they would pick me. I was like, oh, not, and that just speaks to me also, like not really living in my accomplishments. I kind of grew up being ashamed of doing things. So I always underplayed and downplayed some of the things I was doing. I was already participating in the community. I was part of Urban League Young Professionals. So I was volunteering. I had a degree. I was out here trying to do stuff. So when they responded back and was like, oh, you got your local title, I was like, yep, yeah, sure. Because I'm a little bit rough around the edges. I like to say like I'm a hood girl that knows how to pull it together, but I'm like, I just didn't picture myself being there. So when I got involved in pageantry, I like to think of it like a happy accident and just confirmation that, girl, you're doing this and you are doing it. You're already doing the work. Just go out here and live in this. So that's how I got started. I know it's like a little bit of a long story.
No, that's good. I mean, I want to, it actually sparked another question in me because you said that you didn't see yourself in that space. You didn't think that you represented what that system looked like. And so I want to know what was the it thing that made you say, you know what, I deserve to be here? Because, and the reason I ask is because I kind of went through that phase initially, because at first I sent the email to the pageant and I was like, I really don't feel like this is fair. I think married women should be able to compete, because I was married at the time. And so when I saw you, and then I was like, I really want to do that. Look, I didn't know what pageant was, anything, but I remember watching Mrs. Congeniality and was like into it the whole time, right? So I was just like, you guys should have this for married women. And then I got an email saying that we do have it. And so, but again, that was my mindset too when I first started was, Tamika, do you even think that you have the opportunity to win this? Like, that was the thought. So tell me how that transpired for you.
So at the time, I had been, I want to say, so 2017, I had been like a couple years removed from my mom dying. No, so I had been like 2 years. No, 3 years from my mom dying, 2 years from being divorced. So I was going through like a lot of like changes in my personal life. And I think a piece of me wanted to be like, I guess I just didn't really value myself as much as I should have, because I mean, I grew up with a lot of people downplaying what I did. Like if I said, hey, I'm doing something that is off the wall from tradition, or I'm stepping outside the box of the things that we did and I'm going to go and do this, that wasn't well received. I guess that's the best way to put it. And I didn't even realize until then that I was just like letting everybody else dictate how far I was going to go, because I kept thinking like I'm not worth it. But then when they sent this email back, confirming that I got that title, because it wasn't just like they just gave it to me. Like I said, hey, I want this title. And they're like, oh, here you go. Yeah, you can have it. I had to fill out information about myself. How did I volunteer? What's going to be my platform? Now, I think part of my issue was that I had absolutely no clue what pageantry consisted of. I went in blind and I had an idea. Like I created this image, which being here in Wisconsin, I was like, oh, this has to be like a real prim and proper, not black girl with who doesn't speak the best English all the time, who doesn't have as pretty of a background story, because I just kind of thought it had to be perfection. But when they presented the opportunity to me, I was like, well, I'm a big believer that God does not put something in front of you that you are not supposed to be able to do. Like if it's there, he opens a door and you got to decide, I'm going to walk through that door and just trust what's going to come out on the other side of it. Or I'm just going to keep on playing into that cycle and downplay myself like, oh, I don't deserve this. So I think for me personally, everything that I've done that has been big has been me going into this uncomfortable space where nobody that I would like regularly communicate with or interact with was in that lane, because I didn't know like any of my peers. I didn't know anybody who looked like me, nobody who came from where I came from who was doing this. So I didn't even have that as a reference. And I just keep on remembering I was going in thinking I needed to prove to these people who believed in me before I believed in myself that, oh, you know what? I can do this. I can do this. I'm okay. Okay, you know what? I have this mess. Do we need to clean this mess up in my back? Because I just kind of thought my story was a mess. Like my background story. I was a teenage mom. I had been married and divorced, and I just didn't have this picture perfect life. And I was just like, oh well, this is not fit y'all narrative, right? And when I was able to participate, as I was crowned, so I was Miss Woman Franklin, Wisconsin, United States, and then Ms. Woman Wisconsin, United States, 2017. So when I was crowned, I was like, oh, okay, I can do this. I can do this. But even then, there was still a lot of growing that needed to occur, because I'm the type of person that, like, if I'm going to do it, I'm about to go win it, right?
Yeah.
And I thought I had the game figured out. I really went towards it like I'm very competitive. I'm like, this is a game. I got this. And no, it was not. It was not that. It was.
I love that you said that. I really love that you said that, because that's true in pageantry. You start off thinking it's a game, it's a competition, but really what it winds up being is a individual, personal goal chasing thing for yourself. So it's almost like pageantry kind of thrusts you into finding you. That's what I can think of for myself. But then as you were talking, one thing that came to mind was something very important that I want you to kind of continue to dive into, which was about your confidence. You said other people, you would tell them what you wanted to do, but it really took for you to fully believe in yourself that you can actually do this. So what shifted in your mind to give you that leeway?
I had to really, I'm okay. I'm going to say it was a couple of things that changed my way of thinking, that pushed me. So when you go through any loss, I think you have to reevaluate your life. So if somebody dies that's close to you, you look at life differently. I work in healthcare, so I see people die, and it's not the same as like when a parent dies or somebody close to you dies. And so you realize your own mortality, and like, what do you want to leave on this earth? I didn't want anybody to be like, dang, she has so much potential, because potential, that's what's laying in the graveyards. Like people died with potential because they didn't go out there and do what they wanted to do because of fear. And I would say from a young age, I would exercise being more confident than I felt. So it's not like, for me, I don't see it as like imposter syndrome. I see it as, okay, I'm not going to die from doing this, so I'm just going to try it. It may not feel the best, but what if something happens? And my brain just, I don't know, I feed off of that.
Yes, I
Um,
love that. I love that because actually it gives me a different perspective on your quote because your quote says, never argue with someone who tells you what you can't do, show them you can do it. However, in essence, from what I hear you saying, is really showing yourself that you
mhm,
can do it. And it
absolutely.
and in turn, they see it. They get the point because clearly it was there all along. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then you said something else about legacy,
Hmm.
right? And so I want you to tap into that a little bit and talk about the footprint you're leaving here on Earth.
um, so the other component to like this quote is like people will try and dictate your life and write out your life story for you. And a lot of the times, how they're doing, especially with social media being so prevalent now, is that they're piecing together information that you provide and then things that they think they know or kind of see from the outside about your story. So when people look at me traditionally, like if you were just to look at my life on paper, besides what you see on social media, people just they don't realize there's this whole backstory. Like every statistical obstacle that could be present, that's something I have faced. And I think that they want you to like kind of handle it a certain way because that's how they handle it. So I think a lot of people operate in a fear-based type manner. And there's some good fear because if it's a fear that motivates you and pushes you forward, pushes you outside your comfort zone, you have a greater impact. Now for me, I think that I don't want to feel I want to feel like when I leave this earth, I am empty from what I poured out into my children, into my community, and I help propel generational changes in my family. A lot of the things that I do, people would look at my family like that's look. I'm like, yeah, those are my cousins. Yes, those are my siblings. But like people, they just put you into a box and they're like, this is how you're supposed to be. I want not only my family, but I want people to know that you create your journey and your path and do everything you can. I'm big on the YOLO. Like, you only live once. If it's something you dreamed about, something you wanted to really do it. At least attempt doing it so you don't live in regret. Because, like, if you hear stories about people who are in nursing homes or are on their deathbed, one of the things that they have is like regret. They have this regret from things that they did not do. Nobody's sitting there like, man, I love that I worked all this time and I love
Right.
that I made
And that's
everybody
the
else.
last thing I'm gonna say, honey.
I love that I made everybody else's dreams come true. But I had this dream to try and be a dancer, or I had this dream to um be a supermodel, and like at least try. Don't tell yourself no. Some of the things like
Mhm.
I always have a bucket list of things in life. I wanted to be a super. I really wanted to be a supermodel. I auditioned for America's Next Top Model. I got to meet a manager for season 4, even though they didn't pick me. I don't know why. I wanted to walk in New York Fashion Week, and I did that years ago. So it was just like these things I just put out here into the universe. I wanted to go to Egypt and see the pyramids. Was that? Oh, what year is this? This 2022. Last year I got to go to Egypt to see the pyramids. Like there's
Yes.
absolutely nothing we can't do if we're willing to turn off that thing, because we all have that thing that we are afraid of what other people are going to think. Because no matter how confident I am, I still be like, dang, I know they're gonna talk crazy, but now I don't mull on it. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't just
Mhm.
turn it around in my head like, oh, they gonna think this, and they gonna, because you know what? I could be perfect. I could do it all right. And somebody gonna sit there and have some type of criticism about how I didn't do it right enough. So
Absolutely.
from now, it just
Absolutely.
kind of rolls off. I'm like opinions roll off.
Mhm. Yep, you absolutely are right about that. I mean, that's just life. And I love what you said, as far as basically live your life, do the things that are in your heart to do, And one thing I can say after reading your bio is that you're absolutely doing that. And I'm your friend, so I'm on your Instagram and stuff, and I see the different messages that you're leaving to aspiring PAs, and the fact that you are awarding these scholarships. And so, can you tell us a little bit about your life as a PA? Yes.
All right. So I've actually worked in healthcare for over 20 years. So the journey to a PA has been like a winding road. It's not like, I woke up and that's what I was. Started out as a nursing assistant, went on to become a registered nurse, decided I wanted to go to school further, and I went to become a PA. Weighed my options, considered medical school, nurse anesthesia school, but I wanted to do a PA. And I know God is real, not because I have like all these riches or, there's paths to go. Well, I guess there's literal, like figurative paths to go for me in my life, but there's some doors that just open up. Like if I need clarity, some things just happen. So I wanted to be a nurse anesthetist before I wanted to be a PA. I did everything to prepare. Like I had it all mapped out down on the calendar. And I was pregnant with my twins, it did not happen how I wanted it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I applied to PA school, one PA school. I did not have physics, organic chemistry. And I went in with the mindset of, well, I'm going to try it. If I get in, because people were telling me about it. If I get in, then I'm going to go this route. If I don't get in this cycle, I'm going to go back and take organic chemistry and physics and then try again. Really just like applied and threw it out through the wind. And then I got accepted into the program. And if you hear people's stories, like people have to apply on average to about 7 schools to get accepted into a program. I just always feel like God made me to be a PA to do certain things, like to open a door. So for the past 10 and a half years, I've worked as a PA, going on 11 years in May. And I have worked in a variety of settings: neurosurgery, emergency medicine, urgent care. And one of the things that I came to realize from working in just medicine in general is that it's not a lot of us. And when I say a lot of us, it's Black History Month, it's not a lot of Black people.
Mm-hmm.
As far as PAs in the state of Wisconsin, less than 1% of the PAs are Black. So you got to think about, if you're in a community like Milwaukee, the entire state's population of Black people is 6%. So you get to Milwaukee, you get higher concentrations of Black people, but we have like the greatest healthcare disparities. And part of the reason I think like people don't get into pageantry or they don't get into becoming a PA is because you never hear about it. We need exposure. I never heard about it until after I had been working as a nurse for 5 years. So people don't know that that's an option for them. And what I tried to do on social media, since I've ever been on social media, is try and inform people, because if you expose people, now they know that they want to do this. But
absolutely,
I also particularly want to help people of color, because there's lots of barriers that people don't recognize. Like programs may ask, like, why aren't we increasing our population of Black PAs? And it's like, well, there's all these barriers up front. And one of the biggest barriers is the application fee. So there's an application system that opens every year from April to April. And it costs $179 to apply for one school, the first school. And then it's $55 for each additional school. So you got to think of, if
just
you
to apply.
That, yes.
Wow.
And that's not including supplemental applications that some schools may have. And while CASPA does award some need-based scholarships, I always think of, like, because I've been on all spectrums of the finance world. Like I grew up in poverty. I know what it's like to be poor, but I've also know what it's like to be not poor enough. Like you're not poor enough to get the benefit, but you're not there. And so like I want to open up the door, because I always feel that God never allowed me to overcome some of the obstacles, like being a teen mom, getting into this program without having all the requirements, for me just to be like, oh, I got in, or I got here. I was supposed to help other people because we be needing it. So I guess I get to the story. So in 2020, I forgot that part. In 2020, I decided I was going to be more intentional about helping people. So I had created some t-shirts and stuff. And I was like, well, I could use some of the money from the t-shirts to help fund the scholarships. And I was like, I'm going to mentor people, but I didn't want to charge for mentorship. I just wanted to, because I feel like if you're mentoring people, and this is my personal opinion, in a helping area, like do that stuff for free. Pave the way, make it easy. Like that
Yep, I
that
agree.
part, I guess I never will understand that because it's monetized. There's people out there that charge people for the information that I give to my mentees for completely free. Um, and you got to put value into people. You got to pour into people, and then show them the way. Some people don't know everything. Everything got a little bit of a hustle and a little bit of leeway. And it's about who you know. So if you know the right people, you can get put on to the game. Is how I want to put it. But so 2021, you were right. I did award the scholarships for 2021, but I started the mentorship program and selling the t-shirts in 2020. And the funding is what helps fund the t-shirts. Fund the scholarships. So this year, part of my prize money that I won from the pageant, I'm using part of that, yes, to help create more scholarships, because for some people, that's all they need. You get your foot in. Like, say they were able to only afford that one school, I can give them
Mhm.
3 more schools that they are able to apply to financially. And I find it as a gateway. We don't want it to be a privileged um, profession where people who they can't help people because they're not there. They have the passion, they want to do it, and they're smart.
Mhm.
Just need a little money help.
Absolutely. I think that's commendable for you to even have started that mentorship program.
Thank you.
And that's amazing. And so kudos,
Thank
okay,
you.
for
I'm
that.
trying to make Jesus proud of me, y'all.
Well, girl, he is happy, okay? He told me to tell you. um,
Yes.
so you had also said the fact that it's Black History Month, and I'm just so excited to have you here for this month as a highlight,
Yay.
because you are doing something special in the lives of young girls, our youth here in the community. And so, can you tell us a little bit about what you are doing as it relates to
Yes.
your representation matters and the pageant space and everything else?
Yeah, so this is like my baby project, y'all. So my platform is Representation Matters, and representation matters in every single thing. I've shared some examples of how I got even involved in healthcare, of why I do my mentorship program. When people see themselves in those positions, they're more likely to, even if they don't aspire to be exactly that, they can follow a different path. It just opens up the possibilities for people. So I grew up in the inner city of Milwaukee. We grew up, we were poor. Like we lived in poverty. We weren't poor. We lived in poverty, but I grew up in the hood, and I went to a hood school, and I cannot say I ever saw like
Let me
I'm,
stop you
I,
right there for a second. Can you explain to the people, because some people may not know what that is? What is
what the hood is.
hood? What?
The hood is the inner city, and the inner city. That's what it is. We are in the inner city I would call it the impoverished areas. I didn't live in the projects, but there's places around the projects, and that's where I grew up.
Okay.
It may be your not as desirable neighborhood.
Okay.
Just but when you only make a certain amount, your mama gonna raise you where you raised. And I learned a lot. But
Okay. Got it.
um I know I'm like using all my little my AAVE, my African American Vernacular English. That's what the hood is. But I never, like I told you, I didn't start pageantry till 33. Part of that's because I never saw anybody. So as a young kid, I replay in my mind how my vision of the world would have changed had I saw somebody that either looked like me or anybody who would come into my city, because that validates that I'm still worthy, even though I'm here, like, oh, I'm still
Absolutely.
valuable, or you see potential in me, even though I'm here. So what I wanted to do was have a Black History Month Queens Luncheon. And you are one of my queen friends. I have a total of 9 queens. Majority of them look like us for Black History Month, but we also have people who are not Black, which I think is important, because Black history is our history. And what I want to do is show these young girls that, first of all, you are beautiful, you are it, You are capable. You are able. I want to show them that somebody could come from where they live and still make it. That's my story.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to show them that beauty is available in all ages, all shades, all shapes. And I wanted just to talk about some of the queens, the Black queens throughout history, because while we celebrate pageantry and while we participate in pageantry, we have to realize that we weren't always welcome through these doors of pageantry. So it's
Mm-hmm.
important for us to show these young girls that, first of all, you don't have to have a certain look. You don't have to be a certain type in order to
Mm-hmm.
be beautiful. You are
Mm-hmm.
already born beautiful. You were born a queen. You just got to
Absolutely.
activate that. So I'm super excited about that. We're gonna have some food. We're gonna have some affirmations. We're gonna do some little panel talks with just little seeds so that people can leave us something. And what I want is for them to be like, dang, this happened to me. This happened for me. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
somebody came to me,
Yes.
because we don't, if you change one person's life, we have the potential to change thousands of lives. People always want us to do like these big grand things, but I think that this is it's my perfect little project. I don't want to call it little because I think it's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
My
It
perfect
definitely
big deal
is.
project.
It definitely is. And I love what you said about being able to come to them and them be able to see someone else that looks like them. And in addition to what you said, too, another good key point was that Black history is our history as a nation. So including every other ethnicities is
Absolutely.
important because that's how we're going to get past some of these barriers that we have in life today. And in addition to that, what you said about you know, us not being accepted. And when I say us, I mean African American women into the pageantry world.
Mhm.
There's still room for growth in this area
Absolutely.
as well. And so I think that what you're doing is admirable, and I believe that it's going to bring a lot of other young women and girls to this space, because I think what people also don't understand is that pageantry actually provides a lot of different skills, interviewing skills, confidence building, in addition to some scholarships that they have available for individuals
Absolutely.
who are into pageantry. Like I
Absolutely.
had the privilege of being able to be a judge for the distinguished pageant here in Milwaukee,
Hmm.
where they had high school juniors come in,
Oh,
and everybody who competed got a significant prize, like
wow.
a scholarship. But they had other ones who took home the crown, who actually got like their whole schooling paid for, like the whole 4 years.
Oh.
And so I don't think that a lot of people know that this
Mm-mm.
is an opportunity for women and girls to earn scholarships and grants and
I will
money.
say that's the biggest thing is that pageantry opens so many doors. And for me personally, like I like to joke. I'm not as serious as people think I am on paper. I can pull it together, but I think that what I've gained most from pageantry is it's totally okay being me, because I'm excellent, but there's no cookie cutter version for excellence or success. I don't
Yeah.
have to talk a certain way. I don't have to have my hair straightened. I don't have to. I mean, because look, my pageant, I won with braids, knotless braids to my butt, girl, with
Mhm. Yeah.
with some color in it, and I think back to my mindset in 2017 when I first competed. I was like, I gotta get pageant hair. I need to get like this pageant look, and it was cumbersome. I had to change my hair color back after I had just dyed it a different color, and it was more of an inconvenience versus me just really like. I think back to last year, it was just kind of like y'all about to get what y'all about to get. Y'all about to get all of this, which is all
Which
of
is
that.
true. Which is true.
Yes,
Like when a queen shows up on the scene and she is purely herself, that's authenticity at its finest. So
absolutely.
I love it. So we're kind of running out of time, but I did want you to be able to number one, leave a one thing that you would want to leave with our viewers, that they can take with them.
Okay.
if it could be either surrounding the quote or just a positive message that you can leave with our viewers to take with them for the rest of the month. Because girl, look, it's only once a month. So that, and then also how people can connect with you, and in addition to that, how they can sew into your mentorship program if they want to also maybe purchase t-shirts or whatnot. Let us know how we can do that.
Okay, so if I had to leave you guys with just one thing, but I have a lot of things in my brain, y'all. I would say you are your only limitation. Like, really, it's you. You have so much power to do anything. You can go as far as your dreams will take you, but you got to be willing to go when it's not feeling the greatest. It's not feeling like you can make it. You just got to keep pushing, being consistent, and know that it's you. It's you. There's nothing that Tamika can do that's going to make me reach my dream if I don't add on to the work. She can set the path up, but I got to be able to take it. So I would say just like, don't let yourself be your own limitation. And then as far
Absolutely, I love that. Mm-hmm.
that's what I tell the kids. That's what I tell my kids. Like, listen,
That's
you can
good.
you can do it all. You can do anything. And gosh, there's so many messages. But the best way to reach out to me or see what I have going on, you could check me on social media. I am on Instagram probably the most. It's underscore I am Jackie is my username. So at underscore I am Jackie, all one word. I am also on Facebook as Jackie the PA. I don't accept everybody's friends requests, so it's better to go onto my page, Jackie the PA. Because listen, that's the other thing. You have to control your atmosphere and your environment and what information you're intaking. And I unfortunately feel like social media has great benefits, but it also just opens you up to a lot. And I control that by I have a page for y'all that y'all can go on and like. Yes. And yes. And then, or you can visit to see the shirts or the apparel that I have, because I have shirts. If you know a nurse practitioner that you want to get a gift for, I got you on my site. A physical therapist, respiratory therapist, but I'm a PA, so I'm always pushing PA stuff. It is www.jackiethepa.com. And you can find out information here. I think I have a link there if you want me to speak. Now, listen, y'all, how I speak today is how I speak. And I think it is very important because we have to let people know that they don't have to go into just one box in order to be successful, to make an impact. So, yes, if you book me for speaking, you're going to get this.
I love it. I mean, it's perfect. Okay. So thank you so much, Jackie, for being with me tonight. I appreciate you so very much. I'm looking forward to our time together. I'm looking forward to our time together on next weekend. And I know it's going to be a blast. And I'm wishing you much success and blessings as you continue to grow and do what God called you to do.
I know. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. All right. That was such a great interview, and I hope that added value to you all's lives. When I think about the message that Jackie left with us is that we all need to identify who we are, right? Who we are in Christ and who we are called to be and who we want to be. And I think that once we do that, we are living our life through purpose. And that is one thing that I discuss in my book. If you have the book, it's in chapter 10, where I talk about defining yourself through purpose. And one thing that I highlight there is having a growth mindset. And for me, having a growth mindset looked like identifying my goals and what I wanted to do. And so I want you all to share and engage with us on this topic. Have you ever felt like someone didn't understand what you wanted out of your life and kind of told you that you couldn't do something that you felt like that you could? How did you deal with that? Also, share with us, what does a growth mindset look like for you? Those are the 2 questions for this month. I'm looking forward to hearing some of your answers and being engaged with you guys. All right, Queens, that wraps it up for today. Thank you so much for tuning in to Destined Discussions once again. I'd like to believe that I've been purposely adorned. My message to you is always adorn yourself with purpose. Until next time.